Listen, FEMA isn't guessing here. They've spent decades studying disasters and they know exactly what items keep people alive when the lights go out and the grid collapses. Today we're running through their official blackout survival list. 11 critical items FEMA wants in your home at all times. I'll break down each one, why it matters, and how it could literally save your life when the rest of the city is fumbling in the dark. You'd be shocked how many preppers stock their shelves with towers of canned goods, soups, beans, chili, tuna, only to forget the one device that makes those life-saving meals accessible: a manual can opener. It sounds laughably simple until you realize FEMA didn't put this on the list as a joke. According to the USDA, nearly 75% of American households keep canned food in storage at all times, and during a power outage, those cans are your calorie bank. But here's the catch: if you've got no opener, you're staring at metal fortresses you can't breach. Sure, you could smash a can open with a rock, knife, or screwdriver, but you risk contamination, injury, or wasting the food you're trying to preserve. In an extended blackout where every calorie counts, losing even one can of beans is a disaster. And don't forget ergonomics. A cheap dollar store opener will break under stress, and a broken opener is just as useless as no opener. FEMA wants you to get a sturdy, non-electric steel opener, something you can rely on for weeks if necessary. Ideally, you'd keep two, because redundancy is survival. One in your main kit and one hidden in a kitchen drawer or even your bug-out bag. Think about it. If the grid goes down, grocery shelves are emptied in under 48 hours and canned goods become the new gold. Having the ability to actually access your stockpile puts you miles ahead of the unprepared masses. A manual can opener isn't glamorous, but in a blackout, it's the difference between eating and starving. 10. Local maps. Phones are fragile lifelines in a blackout. When cell towers go dark, GPS collapses, and you're left with nothing but your own instincts to navigate. That's exactly why FEMA insists every home stockpile paper maps of your local area and state. During Hurricane Katrina, entire communities were cut off, and evacuees had no idea which roads were blocked or which bridges had collapsed. Today, 83% of Americans rely exclusively on smartphones for navigation, but when those batteries die, and they will, you need a map that doesn't run on lithium. Paper doesn't glitch, paper doesn't need charging, and paper doesn't go down when satellites get fried in a geomagnetic storm, which NASA warns could happen in the next decade. FEMA isn't suggesting this for fun. Imagine your family needs to get to the nearest emergency shelter, but the interstate is gridlocked with abandoned cars, or floodwaters have erased the road signs. A local map lets you trace alternate back roads, find rivers, or even navigate on foot if you're forced out. Smart preppers go one step further. Mark hospitals, fire stations, police outposts, and potential water sources on those maps ahead of time. Keep one in a waterproof sleeve, stash another in your glove box, and make sure your kids actually know how to read one. In a high-stress emergency, your brain will fail before the map does. When people are panicking in circles, searching for working cell service, you'll already be miles ahead, literally. In a blackout, navigation is survival, and a paper map is your compass through chaos. 9. Flashlights and extra batteries. When the lights die, darkness becomes an enemy. FEMA ranks flashlights near the top of its blackout essentials, and for good reason. Nearly 145 million Americans experienced power outages in just the last decade, and many of those lasted days, not hours. Flashlights are not just about convenience, they're about security, safety, and psychological stability. When night falls in a disaster zone, accidents spike, people trip over debris, step on broken glass, or fall down stairs they can't see. Worse, crime rises. After Hurricane Maria struck Puerto Rico, looting surged once the island went dark. A reliable flashlight isn't just about lighting your way, it's about defending your home and family. FEMA emphasizes LED flashlights for their durability and efficiency. An LED uses 85% less power than old incandescents, meaning your batteries stretch further. And let's talk batteries. You'll want stockpiles of AA and AAA, because in a long blackout, those are the real currency. Don't just buy a flashlight, buy 3. One heavy-duty tactical light for security, one lantern style for area illumination, and one pocket-sized backup. Preppers who want redundancy go further with solar rechargeable flashlights or models that double as phone chargers. But here's the kicker. Don't forget the psychological impact. Studies on blackout survivors reveal that children especially suffer severe anxiety in total darkness, which can escalate into panic attacks. A simple flashlight calms them, gives them a sense of control, and keeps morale up when the world feels like it's ending. FEMA knows the truth. Light is life, and when the grid dies, your flashlight becomes the sun in your pocket. 8. Whistle. This one might sound laughably simple, but FEMA is dead serious. A whistle belongs in every blackout survival kit. Why? Because when you're trapped, your voice won't save you. After 9/11, rescue workers discovered that human screams can't carry nearly as far as a high-pitched whistle, especially through rubble, walls, or collapsed structures. The average person can scream for about 2 minutes before their vocal cords give out, but a whistle can be blown for hours with almost no energy. During Hurricane Harvey, survivors stuck in attics used whistles to signal rescue boats navigating flooded streets. FEMA's guideline is clear: 1 whistle per person, preferably a 120 decibel survival whistle, which is loud enough to be heard half a mile away. Don't underestimate its versatility either. In a blackout city, with looters creeping through neighborhoods, 3 short blasts can signal distress to neighbors or scare away an intruder. Lost in the woods because you evacuated on foot? That whistle is your lifeline. Parents should especially pay attention here. Giving each child a whistle drastically increases the odds they're found if separated in a chaotic evacuation. And unlike cell phones, whistles don't run out of battery, don't break when wet, and don't fail when towers are down. FEMA isn't romanticizing here. Sound travels, and in disasters, it saves lives. It's the cheapest insurance policy you'll ever buy. Keep one in your kit, one in your car, and one on your keychain. Because in a blackout, the simplest tools are often the most powerful. Your voice may fade, but your whistle will be heard. 7. First aid kit. When the power goes out, hospitals don't stop working, but access to them does. FEMA places a stocked first aid kit on its blackout list because injuries don't wait for the grid to come back. Think about it. No lights, no refrigeration, debris everywhere, broken glass, and panicked people rushing around. The odds of a cut, burn, or fall skyrocket. According to the Red Cross, minor injuries account for 60% of medical emergencies during disasters. Without proper care, even a small infection can spiral into something life-threatening. FEMA isn't asking for a Band-Aid tin. They're talking about a comprehensive kit: antiseptic wipes, burn cream, sterile gauze, medical tape, scissors, tweezers, and pain relievers. Smart preppers go further, include antibiotics, extra prescription meds, and even a tourniquet. Why? Because in a prolonged blackout, you might be cut off for days, maybe weeks, and 911 always answer. Hospitals may be overwhelmed or inaccessible. After the 2021 Texas blackout, people waited up to 12 hours for emergency responders in freezing conditions. A well-supplied first aid kit bridges that gap. And don't forget hygiene. Without running water, infection risk multiplies. Keep latex gloves, masks, and even a thermometer in your kit. Store it in a waterproof case. Label every compartment, and train your family how to use it. Because in a blackout, you are the first responder. FEMA understands this. If you can stabilize injuries at home, you've just bought yourself and your loved ones critical time when every second counts. Medical preparedness isn't optional, it's survival. Air quality is something people forget until it tries to kill them. FEMA recommends dust masks, and not the flimsy dollar store kind, but at least N95 level respirators. Why? Because in a blackout, infrastructure crumbles. Fires break out when desperate people light candles or run generators incorrectly. After California's wildfires, ER visits for smoke inhalation spiked by 400% in a single week, and many deaths weren't from flames but from toxic particles. In a power outage, HVAC systems shut down, leaving your home vulnerable to outside smoke, mold, or even airborne pathogens if sanitation collapses. An N95 filters out 95% of particles as small as 0.3 microns. That means smoke, ash, spores, even some viruses. If you live near industrial zones, think about what happens when a chemical plant loses power. Do you want your lungs exposed to burning plastics or leaking fumes? FEMA knows masks aren't just about comfort, they're about survival. During Hurricane Katrina, mold infestations destroyed entire neighborhoods, and cleanup workers suffered respiratory damage because they didn't have proper masks. Stock at least one for every family member, and don't cheap out. Get ones with adjustable seals and exhalation valves. Store them in airtight bags so they're ready when the air turns hostile. Imagine trying to keep your kids safe when the whole block smells like melted insulation. That's not the time to wish you had a box of masks. It's the time to be grateful you followed FEMA's advice. Protect your lungs, because once they're damaged, you can't just patch them up. 5. Plastic sheeting and duct tape. This isn't paranoia, it's practicality. FEMA's insistence on plastic sheeting and duct tape isn't about arts and crafts, it's about survival in the rare but catastrophic threats most people refuse to consider. A blackout doesn't just mean lights out, it can also mean loss of containment at chemical plants, industrial leaks, or even dirty bomb fallout in a terror event. If a toxic plume drifts into your neighborhood, your house is no longer a safe haven unless you can seal it. Plastic sheeting over windows, vents, and doors combined with duct tape can create an airtight safe room in under 30 minutes. It sounds extreme until you realize that after the Fukushima disaster in 2011, Japanese citizens had to quickly seal their homes against radioactive dust. FEMA learned from that. They know most Americans aren't prepared for airborne toxins, but the cost of a roll of plastic and tape is pocket change compared to hospital bills for lung damage. And this isn't just about nukes.
Think hurricanes ripping through sewage plants, releasing pathogens into the air, or chemical trains derailing, which happens over 1,700 times per year in the U.S., according to the FRA. With a safe room, you buy yourself critical time until rescue or evacuation is possible. Keep plastic sheeting folded in storage, duct tape ready, and practice sealing one room now before you ever need it. Because when the sirens wail and the news says shelter in place, you won't have time to wonder if you're ready. You'll either be sealing your home or inhaling poison. 4. Moist towelettes, garbage bags and plastic ties. Here's the blunt truth nobody likes to talk about. When the grid dies, plumbing follows. FEMA includes this trio: moist towelettes, garbage bags and plastic ties, because sanitation becomes a nightmare in prolonged blackouts. Without running water, toilets back up in hours, and disease risk skyrockets. After the Haiti earthquake, cholera spread not from collapsed buildings, but from contaminated waste disposal. In just 2 months, over 150,000 people were infected. FEMA doesn't want that in American neighborhoods. Moist towelettes handle personal hygiene when showers are impossible. Garbage bags transform into makeshift toilets, lined inside buckets, or even your existing bowl. Plastic ties? That's your airtight seal before you dump the waste outside, far from your living quarters. In extreme cases, trash bags double as ponchos, waterproof storage, or even improvised insulation. But don't underestimate the morale factor. When people feel filthy, disease isn't the only problem, mental breakdown is. In Puerto Rico's 2017 blackout, many survivors said the hardest part wasn't hunger, but the inability to stay clean. Stock a mountain of towelettes, buy contractor-grade trash bags that won't rip under weight, and keep ties by the hundreds, because once garbage piles up, pests follow. Rats, roaches, flies, all spreading illness. FEMA understands that in a disaster, waste management is as critical as food or water. Without it, your home turns into a biohazard zone. Don't let embarrassment keep you from preparing for something as basic as going to the bathroom. In a blackout, civilization breaks down fast, and sanitation is the first domino to fall. 3. Wrench or pliers for utilities. This is where FEMA shows real foresight. They recommend wrenches and pliers, because when the lights go out, you may need to cut your home off from utilities before they turn your house into a death trap. Gas lines rupture in earthquakes, water mains burst in floods, electrical circuits short in spark fires. In 2010, after the San Bruno gas explosion, investigators confirmed that a simple shutoff could have prevented the inferno that killed 8 people and leveled 38 homes. FEMA doesn't want you fumbling in the dark, helpless, while your house fills with natural gas. Every home has shutoff valves, gas, water, electricity, and every homeowner should know exactly where they are. The catch? Many require tools to close. Adjustable wrenches and heavy-duty pliers aren't just about convenience, they're about speed when seconds matter. FEMA isn't suggesting a full toolbox, they're telling you to keep the bare minimum needed to kill utilities before they kill you. And don't assume the fire department will do it. In disasters, response times stretch into hours. During the 2021 Texas freeze, emergency calls overwhelmed responders in less than 6 hours statewide. If your pipes are bursting or your basement is flooding, you are the firefighter until help arrives. Keep your wrench taped near your gas meter. Store pliers by the water valve. Train your family to use them, kids too. Because in a blackout, survival isn't just about what you stockpile, it's about what you can shut down. FEMA's message is clear: if you can't control your utilities, you don't control your home. When the power grid collapses, information becomes as vital as food and water. That's why FEMA places a battery-powered or hand-crank radio at the very top of its blackout survival kit. The harsh reality is this: in a national emergency, cell towers can be down within hours. Internet goes first, then your TV, and then your phone battery dies while you're desperately refreshing for updates. You're cut off, blind in the storm. During Hurricane Sandy, entire blocks of New York sat in darkness, not knowing FEMA had set up relief stations just 3 streets away because they had no way to get news. A simple NOAA emergency radio would have told them where to find food, water, and shelter. Modern crank radios are more than static-filled relics, they're survival hubs. Many models now come with built-in flashlights, USB charging ports, and solar panels. That means one radio can keep your phone alive, your room lit, and your ears tuned into life-saving broadcasts. NOAA's emergency weather alerts cover 95% of the U.S. population, even if the power's out for weeks. And don't forget the psychological edge. In a blackout, silence is terrifying. A human voice on the radio, even a robotic emergency alert, grounds you, reassures you, keeps panic at bay. FEMA insists you need this, because without communication, you're an island. With it, you're plugged into the lifeline of civilization. Invest in a durable, crank-powered radio, test it regularly, and keep spare batteries stored. In the apocalypse, information is power, and without a radio, you'll have none. Water supply. Here's the crown jewel of FEMA's blackout kit: water. Not just a bottle or two. FEMA demands 1 gallon per person per day for a minimum of 3 days. Why so much? Because water isn't just for drinking, it's for cooking, brushing teeth, cleaning wounds, even flushing toilets when sanitation fails. In survival, water is king. A human can last 3 weeks without food, but only 3 days without water before organs begin shutting down. That's why FEMA hammers this point more than anything else. In Katrina's aftermath, people weren't just starving, they were dehydrating in sweltering heat, and bottled water shipments became the difference between life and death. Earthquakes rupture water mains, floods contaminate wells, and power outages knock out electric pumps. Suddenly your faucet turns into a useless piece of metal. FEMA's baseline 3 gallons for one person isn't comfortable living, it's survival rationing. Smart preppers stock far more, sometimes 2 weeks worth minimum, because if roads are impassable or supply trucks stall, those 3 days can stretch into 10. Store water in sealed containers, rotate supplies every 6 months, and keep purification backups like iodine tablets or filters. Because here's the nightmare scenario. In a citywide blackout, clean water disappears within 24 hours, bottled shelves empty in 2. FEMA knows when panic buying starts it's already too late. Water is life, and when the lights go out it becomes liquid gold. Without it, your food, your hygiene, and your health all collapse. FEMA's #1 rule is simple: store water or die thirsty. At the end of the day, FEMA's not giving you a shopping list, they're giving you a survival plan. These 11 items are the bare minimum to keep you and your family alive when the grid goes down. Because history has proven it again and again, whether it's a hurricane, wildfire, flood or blackout, help can take days to arrive, and you're on your own until then. The people who prepare now are the ones who make it through. So don't wait until the shelves are empty and the lights are already off. Get these items, store them, and know that when the next blackout hits, you'll be ready. Stay sharp, stay prepared, and I'll see you in the next one.